The 2025 OHL season preview series is now underway. Yesterday, we started with the Flint Firebirds, and we're doing it in no particular order. So today, let's talk about the Niagara IceDogs, who are one of the more fascinating storylines going into the 2025-26 OHL season. We all know what happened at the end of last season. No wins in the month of February. They tumbled their way down the Eastern Conference standings, made the playoffs for the first time since 2019, but would ultimately be knocked out in the first round of 5 games in a series where every player had to miss at least one period due to a situation that happened off the ice. So, what can we expect from the Niagara IceDogs going into this upcoming season? They're under new management, they have a new coaching staff. How will the players react? Let's look at how things have been these last 3 seasons. When you go back to the 22-23 campaign, they only had a record of 12, 47, 8, and 1, 33 points. It would miss the postseason. There was some improvement going into 23-24, 17, 43, 6, and 2 for 42 points. Still no playoffs. But last year, one of the hottest teams off the start, they were challenging for top spot in the Eastern Conference standings. And then after the OHL trade deadline where they stood pat, well, that's when they started to take their tumble. They still had a record of 29, 31, 4, and 4, 66 points. They would face the Barrie Colts in the opening round and were eliminated in 5 games. So it was a very entertaining year if you're a fan of the Niagara IceDogs for what happened on the ice, but off the ice, I'm sure that's something you want to soon forget. Let's look at the stats from last year. Their goals for 3.63 goals per game, while their goals against 4.45 goals against per game. Remember, Owen Flores went down with injury, and that's when a lot of the defensive stats really took a hit as Niagara leaning quite heavily on their overage goaltender for parts of the regular season. Their power play, though, 10th best at 22% during the regular season, while their penalty kill, 77.1%. That was 13th overall in the OHL. Last year's top scorers, Ryan Robrick, he led the way. 41 goals, 46 assists for 87 points, while Kevin Hees second in scoring, 36 goals, 39 assists for 75 points. Andre Loshko, who will not be with the team next year, 34 goals, 36 assists for 70 points. Ethan Zada, who just signed his entry-level contract with the Tampa Bay Lightning, 21 goals, 34 assists for 55 points. And rounding out the top 5 is Jack Browdy, 8 goals, 38 assists for 46 points. So outside of Loshko, this core is returning pretty well intact, which is a great sign for Niagara if they're going to be one of the potential contenders coming out of the OHL's Eastern Conference. And like I said, with the goaltending, Owen Flores counted upon throughout the regular season. 24, 16, 3, and 3 was his record. 899 save percentage, so some pretty good numbers there from Flores. Second in wins was Charlie Robertson. He had a record of 4 and 3, 884 save percentage, but missed most of the season due to injury. Then you have Jeffrey Hayden, who stepped in when Flores was out due to injury. 1, 2, and 1 was his record for an 881 save percentage. He was actually in net when the Niagara IceDogs had that big victory on home ice against the London Knights. And then Matthew Humphreys, 0, 10, 0, and 1, 832 save percentage. So this is where goaltending is going to be a big question mark going into next season. They did pick up a goaltender in the import draft. They have him signed, which is great news for this team. That was Vladislav Yermolenko from Belarus. So is he going to be the goalie of the future for the Niagara IceDogs, or do they still have to find another goaltender? And they have been busy on the trade front. When you look at their additions, Grayson Tiller was picked up from the Barrie Colts. They also picked up Bryce Smith, the defenseman from the North Bay Battalion. They signed Jacob Monks after they picked him up from the London Knights. They also acquired Sebastian Del Elsie from the Sioux Greyhounds and then followed it up by signing him. And the most recent trade was picking up Alex Haig from the Peterborough Petes and then followed that up by signing him. So a lot of new faces entering this Niagara IceDogs lineup to go along with the core, which if they can get the chemistry right away, this Niagara team I think will be very fascinating to watch, especially off the hop of the 25-26 campaign. The players that have left the team due to trade, Alex Asadorian went to the Barrie Colts. Max Crete traded to the London Knights. Blake Aerosmith, he was sent off to the Sioux Greyhounds. But one player to keep an eye on is Brady Wasslin. He signed a commitment to join Boston University. We still don't have clarity on when that commitment will take place. There are some who are suggesting he could join BU. as early as this season. So we'll have to wait on that. That's why there's still several question marks with this Niagara Ice Dogs team. What team are we going to get, and what can we expect going forward? I mentioned that they signed Yermolenko, but they also signed import players Ben Reisnecker and Matthew Spath. They also signed free agent Jude Noft. And this one, we were wondering, would they sign their first round selection, Ryerson Edgar? And they would, in fact, sign a commitment from Edgar, who was selected 10th overall, but never appeared in St. Catharines after the draft. There was questions about whether or not he would report. And that question eventually answered. And that seems to have turned the tide a little bit on the perspective of the Niagara Ice Dogs. I know there's a lot of Ice Dog fans who are a little skeptical about Darren Dobler still being the owner of this hockey team. The Ontario Hockey League saying that he cannot have any direct insight with operations with this hockey team, but we'll have to wait and see what all happens. I did the OHL season by season history series of the OHL, and Niagara over the last 5-6 years were featured quite a bit for situations that happen off the ice. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this could be a season where Niagara, we're just talking about what's going on the ice. Because I do feel like this has the potential to be a really good team in the Central Division. When you look at the draft cupboard, it doesn't wow you. They have Barry's second round pick in 2026, no third or no fifth round picks in 2026. But outside of that, they've got their picks. The only thing that's missing when you look into the future of their draft, they don't have a third round pick in 2028. So this is a team that could still add leading up to the OHL trade deadline. It just depends on how the chemistry will settle for this Ice Dogs team. I love the potential of this team. I'm kind of wondering, though, I think they're going to finish somewhere between the 4th and 6th. That's just my prediction going into this regular season. I think if Wasselin comes back and this team has stability, they could challenge for first in the Central Division. But since there's still that uncertainty, I'm kind of leaning between the 4th and 6th place. This will be a playoff team. I would not be surprised if they get home ice advantage come playoff time, but there's still that uncertainty when it comes to this Niagara Ice Dogs hockey team. When it comes to the channel votes, this is how it breaks down. For the first through third positioning, 8% think the Niagara Ice Dogs can take top spot in the Central Division or finish third. 58% expect them to finish 4th to 6th. That's kind of where I'm leaning. And 33% expect Niagara to be at the bottom of the standings between 7th and 10th. I don't think that's likely unless this team kind of implodes and there's something else happening off the ice with this nice Niagara Ice Dogs team. But it is great to see the interactions for those who have participated in the vote so far. We still have all the other votes live. If you go to the posts on the channel page, and you'll see the other 18 teams who have we yet to preview here on the channel. So I think the Niagara Ice Dogs, they've been a fascinating team to follow in the offseason, and we'll see how that carries over into the regular season. And especially for Ryan Robrick, who's expected to be maybe a top 5 pick in the 2026 NHL entry draft, I would think big things from him offensively. Niagara could be a force. It's just how's the goaltending going to play out? So let me know in the comments section down below your thoughts on the Niagara Ice Dogs going into the 25-26 season. Do you think this team could have home ice advantage come playoff time, or are you still skeptical about the future of this team? Love the interaction. Thank you very much for all your support. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.